the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond and AJ Applegarth.
Touchdown! All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, my co-host AJ Applegarth. I'd ask how you doing, man, but this first half wasn't as clean as I think you guys were thinking, man. It was pretty rough, man. It's kind of rough on both sides, honestly.
Yeah, the first quarter was pretty ugly. So,
yes, it was.
I don't know.
They got to go in with the run game. DeAndre Swift, no less. So,
yeah, I'm still waiting for the Rashard Penny sighting. I don't. Maybe he was in, and I missed it, but I don't think.
I have not seen it yet, but yeah, it's not looking good.
I think you mistaked him with Boston Scott a few times.
No, I didn't.
I didn't know they were playing the Giants tonight, apparently, because that's when Boston Scott's the most effective. So,
yep.
Anywho, so tonight we've got a good show. We're going to be talking our week 2 rankings and start sit questions. Going to be going over some kind of injury impact reactions and just reactions from week 1 in general. So before we jump into that, though, want to remind you guys to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's talk to us in the comments here. We appreciate it and we have fun doing it. And of course, jump over to fantasysixpack.net where you can become an all access member and you're going to have access to our award-winning rankings. You're going to have access to our DFS projections, our Discord, where you can get access to all of us to ask your custom league advice as well. fantasysixpack.net/plans and use promo code F6PNFL to save 10%. And that code is not going to last much longer. So jump in on it now. So that's where it's at. So without further ado, though, let's jump into our beer of the week real quick, and then we will bring in our guest and run with it. Ready?
Sure.
All right.
Beer.
All right, man. What do you have for us tonight, AJ?
All right, so I am drinking yet another Devil's Purse Brewing Co.
Okay.
This one's called Neon Shape. It's an American Pale Ale brewed with citrus, so we'll see how it goes. Looks pretty tasty. And it is quite very tasty.
All right. So this is one I've had before a long time ago. I found it again. Aslan Brewing Company, Mind the Hop, double IPA. It's one of their cheaper beers, which is weird because it's super good and it's actually pretty high ABV, which is weird. Like usually those are like the $22 ones. These are $15 for a 4-pack. So I'm always like, yep, cool. It's back. I'm gonna grab it. So
yeah, might as well.
Cheers, and yeah, let's get rolling with this. So let's bring in our guest of the night, Kendall Valenzuela. You all probably know her. She's all over the place. Fantasy Life, senior analyst, director of social media. She's on SiriusXM from 12 to 2 Eastern time. Is that what it is? Yeah, so 2 hours, right?
11 to 1.
11,
10, 9,
yeah,
8.
sure.
Yes,
I'm
11
sorry.
to 1. 11
I
to
just
1.
know I'm in my car around 12 and you're there. So
yes.
So it is great to have you on, Kendall. And yeah, I'm ready to jump in on this.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying the game tonight so far?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have to talk about the game tonight. That's totally fine. Like it's, not, you know what though? I did start DeAndre Swift, even though I know better, but I'm okay with that. It's looking okay from that perspective. I think I couldn't tell if Justin Jefferson got in for that touchdown, and I have not checked if he was in for that one or if
he did not.
Okay, of course not.
Considering the Eagles have the ball and it's still 10-7.
Perfect. So no, it's okay. But I'm glad I didn't bring a beer on here with you guys because you guys drink really cool beer, and I would have shown up and been like, "This is my Coors Light.
fine.
Please don't judge
That's
me."
awesome.
You and
No,
Howard
that's
Bender
fine.
would be friends.
So I am drinking
He's Bud Heavy.
an imaginary Coors Light with you guys, but that's what I
It
would
is
have had.
awesome.
Then I would have been
we
like,
are
"This is a Coors
not
Light."
we do not we do not care what you bring. If you keep bring nothing, that's fine too.
Perfect.
But appreciate you coming on, and I know you've got a hard out, so I wanted to just start and get going with this. So what we do is we kind of go through some start sit questions. It kind of reveals a little bit of my rankings that I guess I'm known for right here. And then, you can give your opinion as well. AJ gives his opinion. And we start with quarterbacks. Mike is the voice in the sky, our producer here, and asks the questions.
Oh, yes. And this one, we got a spicy one. After that top 5 QB finish from Anthony Richardson, he makes an appearance back into this quarterback section. We got A Rich against Houston, or are we starting Geno Smith against the Lions? I'll let you start off, Kendall.
Oh man, you have to put me up against my Seattle Seahawks right away to start the show. That's just brutal. It's brutal. You know what?
Mike?
This is a spicy question, right? Because if you weren't in on Anthony Richardson in the offseason, or you thought it would take a little while, week 1 looked really good for everyone else that really liked him, right? You got the 20 plus fantasy points in week 1, and you said, okay, you know what? I think I'll go. Oh, man, I think I'll go Anthony Richardson this time and see how it goes, only because I really like, the matchup with the Houston Texans. And I think, personally for me, when I look at Anthony Richardson, we put out a quote the other day at Fantasy Life, and, he had 27% of the designed rushes, right, during week 1, posted a 9% scramble rate. And so it's going to be really hard to not score fantasy points when you have a quarterback that is doing that for you. And so I think for me, Anthony Richardson is not going to be as much of a project as maybe other people, myself included too. I thought it would take him a little while to get up to speed. And I think he's going to have some really off weeks as well. I think he's going to be an up and down quarterback this year with more highs than lows, but I don't think he's going to be as much of a project as maybe we thought. And so I would go Anthony Richardson with that one against the Texans. Just keep an eye on, I think he was a full participant in practice today, but I know he's dealing with that bruised up knee. So that's the only thing I would look out for, but I think I'll go Richardson this weekend.
All right. I like the call. I'm gonna go Geno Smith. That's before I knew you were a Seahawks fan, but I think Detroit's definitely still flying high after week 1 upset of the world, basically, that came through. Although I didn't think it was much of an upset. I kind of had a hint that just felt like they were going to win that game. But Geno did not have a good week 1. I think he's going to bounce back pretty strong this week. And I just like the matchup. I think, Detroit's coming home. Like I said, they're just going to be flying high. I think they might be a little too high, and kind of like the Eagles were getting smacked in the mouth at home after an ugly game 1 last week. I think Detroit could see some of the same kind of action, and Geno's going to have to play a big role for that to happen. So I like Geno this week personally.
I'm going to make the tiebreaker, and it's Kendall. I'm siding with you. It's Anthony Richardson. I mean, it's Houston. I know Detroit's not good either on defense, although they played their asses off. Let's be real against Kansas City. No Travis Kelce, so that helped. But and Tony got block hands, but that be said, that put aside a little bit, it's still Houston. They're just not good. Richardson's got the floor we're all looking for with the rushing. I know there's going to be games where we're gonna be like, oh, Richardson looks like a rookie, just like you said, and I've been saying, and those games are going to scare people off for sure. But in games like this, these are the games you want to start Anthony Richardson in. This is why you drafted him. So go for it.
All right.
I'm with you. I love it.
Moving on.
I was kind of shocked to see just how much they utilized him in the red zone. It was just like watching Cam Newton 2.0. All right. On to the next one. And full disclosure, I did not mean to put Seattle in here twice.
Oh, no, don't do this to me.
Joe
Nice.
gave me
I
a
had
couple
no idea.
players. He's like, try to like fit these into the questions.
Oh,
see
no,
if
no,
we
no,
can-
no, no. Say Jared Goff.
I know what you guys did.
That's
It's
on
okay.
you.
I respect it.
Right. So we got Jared Goff versus the Seahawks, or we get Brock Purdy against the Rams, who actually showed a little bit more fight than we all expected. Joe, you get to lead off this time.
Whoa. Yeah, this one's tough because, yeah, you're right. The Rams looked solid, of course, against the quarterback we just talked about, Geno Smith, who I liked coming into the season, and that's not looking good right now. Purdy looked amazing, and I'm still going Geno, though. It's or sorry,
Jared?
Golf. I'm still
Golf.
I'm
I was
still going
I
Golf.
just took Geno,
Sorry.
and you
I
shot
still
that, so-
that Seattle secondary looked really ugly. Sorry, Kendall.
okay.
And it's Golf's got a lot of weapons there.
Outside
we
of
saw
Tariq Woolen, it looked
that's
ugly.
how
Tariq Woolen locked
Purdy
down Van.
still needs to prove a little some things. I know he's kind of a backyard quarterback still, in my opinion. So like I think to trust him like that is pretty tough. So I'm gonna go Golf.
All right.
I think AJ, you're next.
Yep, AJ gets to go next this time.
I guess
can
so.
point the
All
right
right. So the cool thing that I saw somewhere on a tweet, I'm sure, was that this is the first time that a number 1 overall quarterback pick in a draft will play the Mr. Irrelevant pick as a quarterback in a draft. So
That is pretty cool, actually.
I'm just going to go with Purdy just solely on that. No, I think he definitely surprised me last week. I did not see that coming from him. I was, very closed-minded on whether or not he could actually succeed and kind of bring back that fire that he had at the end of last year. He just didn't really play anybody in my mind. And he had kind of an easier run, but he's got a fantastic defense behind him too. So that definitely helps him. LA's defense isn't what it used to be. He's still got Aaron Donald, but I just think Brock's going to show out again.
I'm with you. I think I'd have to go Brock here, not because of my Seahawks bias, though. I really promise it's not because of that. But no, I agree. I'm someone that, I didn't love Brock Purdy coming into this year, right? I thought it was going to be something like we're going to actually see who he is as a quarterback, and maybe he's going to fall back a little bit. But I think, what we saw in week 1, too, was that they were so good in all phases of the game, right? It was just everything clicked. And I wrote an Overreaction Monday piece on them. And I just said, you know what, like, we'll see him in the Super Bowl if it keeps going like that, because they have so many mouths to feed, but they're just so like stoked and just awesome on offense. And you've got Kittle, and if Brandon Ayuk is really just popping like he did last week and continues to do it, and Debo and all the, CMC, like there's too much firepower with them to be, totally awful. And so I think if Brock Purdy just stays good, gets the whatever he had last week, 16.8 fantasy points, I think I'll stick with that and that offense, especially going up against the Rams.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's close. It's close to
Yeah.
me, but yeah.
I mean, I look at it like, who's going to score? Is Jared Goff going to score more than 2 touchdowns? Because that's pretty much the baseline for Purdy now. He gets pretty much 2 passing touchdowns a game.
Yeah.
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 He's a super safe still streamer, in my opinion, at this point.
Yeah.
Although there's a lot of leagues now that are rostering 2 quarterbacks regardless. That seems to be like the new thing. So he's probably gone. So good luck.
True.
All right, let's move over to running backs, man.
Yes, we are on to the running backs, and AJ, you were lucky enough to start us off this one. Oh my gosh, there's a theme going on here.
Third time.
God, is it a Seahawk player?
Well, no, it's
Shocker.
a
Okay.
Lions. It's a Lions
So we've
player,
got
but
the whole show lined up with only Seahawks
It's incredible.
and Detroit.
no,
players.
this one you can blame on Joe. He specifically requested this name: Jahmyr Gibbs versus Seahawks,
Okay.
or Rashad White versus a very juicy matchup against the Bears.
Hmm.
AJ, let's hear it.
My vote on this one is actually going to be solely based on my fantasy ownership. I have 0 shares of Gibbs, and I have a ton of shares of White. And I was very sad with my shares of White last week. So I think that he's going to bounce back as well. Chicago did not look good at all. Their entire team was just in disarray. It was very reminiscent of the Eagles game that I had to watch after. So yeah, I feel like White's, he's got to start getting some, if he gets enough touches, I think they implement him well enough into the scheme like they did last year. He should be worth it.
Is it me?
All right. Yep. Yes, all you, Kendall. We're kind of going in a
perfect.
rotation.
All right, perfect. I'll go ahead.
clockwise.
I have a good amount of Jahmyr Gibbs. Not very fun for the first week, but I do think, if you look at David Montgomery right in week 1, and he played 79% of the snaps, he had 21 carries, 74 yards, and you look around and you say, okay, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs is gonna, he's gonna get his. And I think they even came out with a quote today saying, that they're easing him in and making sure that he's ready for that bigger role. So until he is ready for that bigger role, I think I would agree. If you're going into your matchups this weekend and you can see that, you're, a steady underdog and you definitely need some points on the board, I would definitely go with Rachaad White this weekend. I even typed it into the Fantasy Life Start Sit tool just to make sure that I liked it. And our point projection is even are like just great. I mean, you got Jahmyr Gibbs. Our point projection is 9 fantasy points, and then you've got it's not better with Rachaad White, but you have 12.2, which at least going up against that defense, you can see a world where he does a little bit better. So I'd go Rachaad White, but I'm holding on to my Jahmyr Gibbs shares, and I'm excited when I can be able to use him. Hopefully, if it's not this weekend, then hopefully you're comfortable starting him in the next couple weeks. All
right, Joe, why'd you want to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs? Let's hear it.
So Jahmyr Gibbs, as Kendall alluded to, was a hot player to draft, and I always thought he was being a little overdrafted. Look, I think the kid's gonna be good, but I was worried, especially early season, that he was gonna get that DeAndre Swift role, and it happened, if not worse. I looked at DeAndre Swift's utilization from the last season when he was healthy. He was still getting more work than what Gibbs got. And so there's a lot of, room to grow for him. It's just not there yet. So yes, it is Rachaad White.
Yeah.
I still like Gibbs. I think, we saw him when he got the ball, he looked amazing. He was electric. He was fast. He was making juice, spinning. It was fun to watch, but he just didn't get enough touches. And that's what we want, especially at the running back position, is volume. So Rachaad White is the guy, against Chicago. And look, let's be honest, I was pleasantly surprised at how at least decent the Tampa Bay Bucks looked last week. I mean, I think we all thought this offense was just gonna be just the worst, right? Outside
Baker's
of the Cardinals. And
Yeah.
Baker looked okay. I mean, he got the job done, right? It wasn't always pretty, but he got the job done. So I think White will have a solid season.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield.
I agree.
Baker Mayfield, man. I just can't.
I mean, I don't want to try. I don't want to go there. The other point to make, and the other point to make with that, just real quick, is that everybody was deathly afraid of drafting Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
True.
Those two are two of the best receivers in the league. Even Baker Mayfield can make them better than what their ADP was.
Yeah.
And I was drafting them as many times as I could, but I was in too many smart leagues and I couldn't grab them. So it is what it is.
All right. Who we got next?
All right. So next one here, we got somebody coming off a multi-ligament tear with Javonte Williams, who didn't actually look that bad in week 1. Let's be honest. Against the stout Washington Commanders, or Tyler Allgeier coming off 2 touchdowns against the Packers. Kendall, you get to start us off.
I think it's Tyler Allgeier if I'm looking at everything, I know that Bijan Robinson managers were probably looking at that game and saying it's very Arthur Smith to like take away touches from the guy that they drafted when they did, and you were paying a pretty penny for Bijan Robinson as well in a lot of your drafts, and you're looking around like, what the hell is Tyler Allgeier doing around here? I do think though that Desmond Ridder is not up to speed yet, or he's not going to be. I'm trying to be nice with Desmond Ridder. I think he only passed 18 times in that game in week 1. So, I think if they're, but the thing with Arthur Smith that it frustrates me because we play fantasy football, but they're going to keep doing what allows them to win. And I think that's going to be feeding Tyler Allgeier. And I think it's going to be feeding Bijan Robinson. I think Bijan Robinson is going to be taking a lot of that pass game work away from Drake London, like we saw, away from Kyle Pitts, like we saw. So I think there's room for both Bijan, though, and Tyler Allgeier to be okay together. I do think by midseason or close to fantasy playoffs, Bijan kind of runs away with it. But I think for now, you can start Tyler Allgeier and be pretty comfortable.
Joe?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my rankings right now say Javonte, but it's a lot closer than I would have thought it would have been. Like once the projections came out and everything else, and I moved some people around. You move Allgeier down just because of the absolute studly talent of Bijan. But yeah, Kendall, you made a great point, and we see this a lot from rookie running backs. I mean, we even saw it with Jonathan Taylor, right? These teams they kind of slow play him in, and I wouldn't say they technically slow played Bijan in. He still got a ton of touches, but he didn't get the workload that you would have thought. And I mean, let's be like, he caught I forget what it was, like 6 for like 10 yards catching. Like that wasn't good. So like, you're right. Desmond Ridder is just not there yet. And so even if he's dumping it off to Bijan, I mean, how many yards are we really expecting there? And we'll talk about this later, but man, I pray for Drake London.
I know.
I don't want to talk about him later. I do not. No, I have
Jamie,
no
I
harsh
agree, man.
feelings about
Thank
him.
you. Hit that like button. How about the 6-pack? Love it.
That's right. All right. So I would be going Allgeier on this one too. I was definitely surprised to see what he did and how much usage he got compared to Bijan. I mean, I was sitting there watching the draft, hoping Bijan would kind of fall to the Eagles, even though they had just picked up, Swift and Penny and whatever. I thought, well, why not keep going and just building a running back room when you're never going to use any of them? So I feel like Atlanta just got the same thing. And Allgeier.
Speaking of running backs, and Kendall, you said you started Swift.
Oh my God, what did he do?
He literally got tackled at the inch line, and then they ran it in with Hurts.
I was just gonna say, did they do a tush push?
Of course they did. Of course they did.
That's what they did for the first.
It's going to be so gross. It's going to be like that all season. But I'm okay. They're feeding him, so I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
At least getting yards.
Back apparently, because we all expected that.
So brutal. Brutal.
Anyway. So Allgeier's my pick. All right, moving on.
All right, now this one, I apologize. This one's not a flashy one, but there's people out here deciding between these two running backs.
Uh-oh.
All right, Joe, Isaiah Pacheco at Jacksonville or James Conner versus the Giants?
Just say neither. Just say none.
I promise you, there's one person with these two players on their
Drake London
their roster
for the win.
Just give up now. No, it's good. AJ, I think it's yours, man. Or is it mine?
No, it's
you, Joe.
Yeah. It's you.
All right. Sorry, it's James Conner. Dude, did we see how bad the Giants looked last week? I mean, that's all I gotta say is that's like a Keith. Sorry. That's my co-owner. We have our little saying here. He's a Giants fan, so we like to say. And of course, AJ's an Eagles fan, Kendall, and I'm a Commanders fan, so we like to make fun. Hope you're listening, Keith. Love you, man. So it's Conner. I mean, Pacheco, I mean, even without Kelsey, like they just didn't give him the ball.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of snaps, routes fine. Just they didn't touch the ball. In a game where you thought maybe they would rely on the running game a little bit, they decided to be like, nah, we're good. We're gonna rely on all these schmuck receivers we've got. No thanks. So I'm out. He's got to fall into the end zone to make it happen. And yeah, obviously he could. But I'd rely. I just want to still rely on the volume for Connor.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
AJ.
where I'm going with this one. I mean, we just saw what Tony Pollard did to the Giants, and he had a very nice game. So I think James Conner can have maybe half of that, and Pacheco, I just don't see him doing anything yet. I am a fan of Jacksonville's defense. I think they've got a good squad there. Connor just has a better matchup for me, so that's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you guys. First of all, this is gross. If you have to decide between this, I'm so sorry because like that's
there's 0 RB
yeah,
teams that did that.
man, that's tough. It's tough. But James Conner, it's not pretty what James Conner is doing without Kyler Murray there. But it's really tough to fade someone when they look at 20 plus, touches, 80+% of the snaps on a weekly basis. So I think for me, James Conner is, while it will be gross and you'll get sick to your stomach if you're making this decision, I think James Conner is the way to go because he's going to have, I mean, he's projected, to get at 12 fantasy points. And if that's what you need, it's fine. It's nothing great. It's nothing beautiful, but he's at least going to get you some points on the board.
Agreed. Yeah. You didn't draft him for much more than that, hopefully. So.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, to your point, Joe, like this is definitely a 0 RB team right here.
Mhm.
And it's the same team that we're going to talk about next in our wide receivers because they got some studly wide receivers because of this strategy. We got Brandon Ayuk, who just went off against the Rams.
The trio questions. I love this. It makes me work.
I know. You did get to start 2, sit 1 in this one.
Oh, okay.
T. Higgins versus the Ravens, or Garrett Wilson against the Cowboys. Kendall, you get to start us off.
Okay, so I think, God, I feel so bad about Aaron Rodgers. Like it just makes I just feel so bad for everyone and Jets fans and everything else. So I think I'll go T. Higgins here, and the other one was
Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk. I think
Ayuk,
God, which sounds awful, but I get, first of all, we saw what the Cowboys defense did in week 1. And so that's the first thing that worries me just a little bit. And then the other part of it is Zach Wilson. That worries me also, which is not great, right? I hate to do that because it's Garrett Wilson. But he probably, I mean, you guys are going to go through rankings and stuff. Like I always ask people how far they moved Garrett Wilson down the ranks after that injury and like where that puts him. So I think Joe Burrow bounces back this week, whether that's meaning that he's back to true Joe Burrow form. I don't know, but I think I'll go T. Higgins there and Brandon Ayuk, and it's so gross because it's Garrett Wilson. So you guys could convince me otherwise, though. For sure.
All right, and before you go, Joe, I'm pulling the reverse card because I messed up and AJ should have went first. So we're gonna go AJ next, and then he's gonna get the next question. So AJ,
as I just like re-upped on the
Fine.
sheet to fix your mistake.
Pull the Uno card.
All right, so am I going now?
Yeah,
now I'm totally
go.
confused. What did you just do?
I pulled the reverse.
Right.
You get to go.
Yeah. Of these 3, I agree. I gotta go. Ayuk is a no-brainer to me, and Higgins. That's tough though. Garrett Wilson is so good, but with an unknown throwing to him, or Zach Wilson. I mean,
we know it's not an unknown. We know and we don't like it.
Well, yeah.
Out.
That's what I mean. He is an unknown in the terms of people who spent $85 of fab on him in Scott Fish this week. So thankfully I was not one of them. But yeah, I think Burrow just looked very Zach Wilson-esque, possibly worse. And I don't see that happening again from him. I think he's going to bounce back. Division game. it's in my mind between Cincy and Baltimore who takes that division. So I think Higgins is going to get back on the positive side this week and slightly edge out Garrett Wilson and his, lots of looks and few receptions from bad targets.
He got 5 targets last week.
Yeah.
Yes, he caught all 5. Fantastic. Thankfully, 1 for a touchdown because it was only for 34 yards. This isn't going to be good. So out on Wilson if you got guys like this. Well, yeah, Wilson's going to be fine. I mean, he ended up being fine last year, rookie of the year. But just no. You got Higgins and Ayuk, who we just saw ball out last week. Move on. So
all right. So with this reverse card, AJ, you get to start on this question.
All right. So
Start 2 out of these 3. your favorite wide receiver. I'm glad it worked out like this. Drake London versus Green Bay.
That's why you screwed it up. You just wanted me to talk badly about Drake
everything.
London.
Everything happens for a reason, my friend. Christian Kirk versus the Chiefs, or Jahan Dotson versus the Broncos. AJ, who you sitting?
Who am I sitting?
good luck with this one.
Honestly, I'm sitting Drake London just solely out of spite because he cost me my game last week. And that's the kind of player I am. So not only did he get me a fat 0 and I lost by 1 point, Mark Andrews was injured and I lost him. So I put in Isaiah Likely thinking he'd likely get more than the 1 point he got. And I had Ayuk on the bench. So I don't want to talk about Drake London ever again until he actually shows up. But no, I do think Kirk is an easy start for me. Dotson, I do like. I think Howell can have a decent game against Denver. Their defense kind of showed up last week. It was Las Vegas though, but they still lost the game. So Russ apparently is not back like we had talked about him potentially doing. I do like Howell though, so I'm going Dotson and Kirk. I'm sitting Drake because F him this week.
I get sitting Drake, but no, I'm not gonna overreact to 1 week. I know I don't like Desmond Ridder, and I don't believe in him, but I don't also think that he's gonna throw the ball to Drake London 1 time again. This is not gonna happen. Green Bay's not that great of a defense. They're not bad, but no. There's going to be way better days ahead for London. Christian Kirk also had like an oddly weird day. He got outshined by Zay Jones, which happened a bunch last year, like we kind of expected Calvin Ridley to do his thing. So maybe it's going to be Ridley and then Jones and Kirk kind of flip flop. Maybe that's what we're going to see. So maybe this is a Christian Kirk week. I just think Christian Kirk is way too talented. And they paid him way too much money to only throw him the ball twice. That's not going to happen anymore. And then Dotson, going against Denver, man, like I don't want any part of that. I know they got kind of showed up last week, but I still think Washington didn't really show up last week either. So like against who we all think is the worst team in the league, Arizona. So I'll sit Dotson.
And they played pretty well. Ooh. They were making me worry for a little bit.
I think I'm with, I'm going to sit Drake London. I'm going to sit Drake London until he proves to me that right. He's not like, I don't.
1 target.
Yeah. It's just tough. I can see Arthur Smith. Like I said, why would they, try and change things up if they're scoring the way that they are and they can now pass to Bijan Robinson? True. You know what I mean? So it's really tough. And he even had that quote this week that was like, he was asked about him getting 1 target and he was like, let the fantasy, managers worry about that. And I'm like, we are worried, Arthur Smith. We're very worried. Thank you so much for thinking of us. So I think I really will sit Drake London though, not because I also started him. But until, maybe something changes, like he just seems like he could get that treatment all year, especially if they keep winning the way that they are and they, can start passing to Bijan Bijan. So it's really tough because he's so talented, and it sucks too because he's so talented. It's just like Kyle Pitts. So, it just doesn't seem startable right now, at least.
I will say this about both Pitts and London. They ran routes on a phenomenally large amount of plays. So they're out there. Ritter really just has to
cardio
fly
club
to get them the ball.
Yeah.
It's all on Ritter. So give me another couple of weeks and then I'm probably totally out, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up yet.
Good on you. I have given up. I've given up. I feel so sad. It's just
bye week. Here you come back into my lineup.
They're gonna have the most in shape pass catchers out of the
league. Cardio club.
Awesome. All right.
I need to be part of that club. Burn off some of this. Anyway. I can catch 0 passes in the NFL. I mean, come on.
Don't make me laugh. I've been going to
I'll just run around like a jack.
The top of my abs hurt, dude. I was like, I didn't know it was possible. But they do.
All right. Last receiver question. Joe, you get to finish off the receiver section. Start 2 out of these 3. You get the hot rookie Zay Flowers against the Bengals. George Pickens with the Deontay Johnson injury against the Browns. Or do we trust Michael Thomas again against the Panthers?
I'm gonna say Flowers and Pickens are my 2. Pickens, I know, man, the Steelers look just awful. And they could actually get smacked again, just like Cincy did, where that front 4 of Cleveland just drives through and just makes Pickett's life just miserable, just like they did with Burrow. But Flowers is going to be apparently the target hog there, and since he doesn't quite have the secondary, it looks like, to be able to stop that. Michael Thomas to me, he was fine. And you probably drafted him as like a wide receiver 4. So if you need him in a flex spot, cool. But out of these 3, I'm gonna go with the guys who seem to be getting the larger target share this week. That's pretty much all it comes down to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Since I did pull that reverse card, it is technically Kendall's turn to go if you would like to go.
Right.
No, whatever you guys want. Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I think I agree. I'll go Zay Flowers for sure. I think I really like him in that Ravens offense. I think it all makes sense with him and Lamar Jackson and that connection. And I'll go George Pickens as well, only because that Deontay Johnson injury, which was weird because today he tweeted like he's only day to day, and it's just I don't know what the heck's going on over there, but I don't like it. I'm just like I don't like it. I'm gonna go George Pickens only because I did like Rashid Shaheed on the waiver wire this week too, and I liked people talking about him. So if he continues to play well, I think Michael Thomas is gonna play well too. I think it's going to be really close between Michael Thomas and George Pickens. So I'll go with the flashier of the 2 and go George Pickens in this one and Zay Flowers.
All right. AJ, you going flashy?
I'm going reverse card flashy, I guess. I'm actually going to go Thomas and Flowers. Mostly because of, the electricity we saw from Flowers, the targets, double-digit targets in week 1 is awesome. I think a lot of that may have had to do with Mark Andrews not being there. He should hopefully be back this week, so that might cut into Flowers, targets overall, getting that safety net back for Lamar. But at the same time, I think after seeing what we saw in week 1, maybe Lamar has somebody else that now he knows he can trust and he can throw to. He was 84% snap share last week, so that's huge. Pickens did beat out Thomas slightly on the snap share. Oh no, not slightly. He was actually the highest at 89. Thomas was still at 80. I think now that Thomas has a good quarterback again throwing to him, I think this is going to help him. I like the upgrade with David Carr. I love Shaheed too. Hello, Mr. Scampers. How are you? And I'm just going with Thomas for now. Calvin Austin actually jumped up out of nowhere last week for Pittsburgh. They were behind in that game, so they had to throw a lot. Not sure if they'll definitely be as behind with Cleveland. I think it'll be a closer game. So going Thomas and Flowers.
All right. I like it. I can't quit Michael Thomas. I don't know what it is.
I got sucked into him like early in draft season when he was like 9th round, and I was like, man, can he be this bad again? Like, I don't know. There was like nobody on the board at that point. I'm like, he's even 2/3 of what he was. It's worth this. So I think I'm okay still, but yeah, I mean, we're seeing guys pass him, and injuries happen. So of course, guys like Pickens jump him. Well, Pickens and Thomas were pretty close to me, honestly. But now Pickens is slightly ahead of him. So because of an injury. So it is what it is. But all right, we got one more left, man. Let's do it.
Yep, we finish it off with just one tight end because let's be honest, it's a wasteland.
True.
Last week was bad.
True.
Yes, it was. All right, Kendall, you get to go first. You got David Njoku against the Steelers or Darren Waller against the Cardinals?
Oh, I'm gonna go. It's gonna be just like, oh man, I'm gonna go Darren Waller, and I'm gonna hate every single second of it. Like I'm gonna hate it. And I'm just gonna throw that out there because he was my most drafted tight end, which should have just been problem number 1 for me. But he's dealing with the nerve hamstring. I don't know what that is. If he's not playing, then he says he's playing. He wasn't on the injury report today, I guess. So I'm trying to believe and talk myself and manifest that he could actually be okay. So I'm going with him for. I mean, I'm seriously gonna watch him. I mean, the Giants also looked awful. They did not look good. And so I'm going to go with him this week because I'm trying not to play too scared. And like you said, tight end is a wasteland, and it's like between him or trying to see if Greg Dulcich can come off the injury report. And so I'm going to go Darren Waller, and I'm not going to like it, but that's what I'm going to do.
Why you gotta hurt me?
I'm sorry. Greg Dulcich. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that hurt.
He's not even playing.
I know. I'm aware. Thank you.
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
Thanks for reminding me.
There's a guy there that you
go
may
get
have heard of.
Troutman.
Yeah, Troutman.
This is Scott Fish, so there's no tight ends available.
Oh man,
they're all gone.
Go get Troutman.
He's out there.
Yeah. So Is it me? I forget the reverse.
Yes,
it's
now.
You.
Go.
Mike LaPlante.
That's the last question. You can take it, Joe.
Screw me up again. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think if Waller's healthy,
it's a curveball.
Play him. He saw, he at least was like the most heavily used. We'll call him a receiver in that offense last week. So there's at least that. So you've got to hope that against Arizona, it works out a little bit better than what we all thought the Commanders were going to do against them. And maybe they got, little fire into their ass when they got smoked by the Cowboys. And so they're going to come out just firing this week. Njoku, and I know Pittsburgh looked just awful, but I still believe Pittsburgh's way better than they looked last week. That was a shock, I think, to everybody being like, whoa, what is happening to Pittsburgh right now? So I'm in on Waller over Njoku just slightly.
I'm gonna go with Njoku because he had 2 monster games last year against Pittsburgh. Granted, the first one was not with Deshaun Watson, so that was the better of the 2 games, but he still had a good game at the end of the season there. Double-digit points, mostly because he got the touchdown. I think that's what's going to sway it on this one. I feel like he has a better advantage at being a red zone target. Plus Waller, when I threw him in here, I didn't even realize that he was still dealing with the injury shit. So My
Nah, you're
apologies
good,
on
man.
that one, but
Yeah, we had to
Um,
pivot. We realized we threw in Goddard at first.
yeah,
Like, oh, he's
it's
playing
like,
tonight.
wait,
That
well,
doesn't
he's
matter.
already playing. So I think Njoku
The
is
answer
just
would have been
gonna.
Goddard.
Oh yeah, so that's where I'm going.
Oh,
with
that's
it.
not really working. So, oh, wait.
Another tight
Anyway,
end that didn't even score a point
so
last
No,
week.
I
Yeah.
had
All right.
3 tight ends. Okay, so in one league, I had 3 tight ends: Goddard, Chig, and Shuna Walker, whatever dude from Dallas. All 3 of them 0 points. So it wouldn't have mattered which one of the 3 I would have started.
Schumacher.
I mean, yeah, Skywalker,
Incredible.
Luke Skywalker. That's his name.
Doesn't matter. He didn't score you any points.
Exactly.
exactly. So,
That's why I don't remember his name. If you would have scored me a touchdown, I'd remember who you are, and then I would have been
all right.
yelling at
Well,
you. because
Kendall, I
you
know
were on my
we've
bench.
hit your time limit, and we are actually done with the start sit questions. So I appreciate you
my
coming on the
gosh.
show.
Yeah.
Before you jump out, though, let everybody know where they can find you and what you got going on this year.
Yeah. Sirius XM 11 10 9 8. Yes, 11 Eastern. I'm West Coast, so I always
I
have
know.
to think about it. 11 Eastern to 1 5 days a week. We're over there, Sirius XM channel 87. And then just go out and check out Fantasy Life. That's the big one. fantasylife.com. I mean, Dwayne's dropped the new utilization report tool that's completely free. We've got start sit tools. We've got really everything you need, and subscribe to the newsletter while you're there. And give me a follow at KValenzuela17. And I was so happy to join you guys tonight. It's so
Yes.
fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for
Great to
coming
have you
on. We
here,
really
and
appreciate it.
have a good night watching the rest of the game. And
Great.
we will hopefully touch base soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a
All
good
right.
one.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Night. All right, AJ. So just a couple of things I think to close out the show. We've got
No.
some-
I've been promising some viewers
I know.
here for
I
some
know.
more
I
start
was
sit
gonna get to it.
questions.
I was gonna say we've got some questions, Mike. You're gonna have to throw them up on the screen here because I've lost track of them in the comments here. So if you've got them,
Yep, I got first off,
in
we got
order, at
AKA
least.
Bash. Yep, AKA Bash is
yes.
the first one here. How we feeling about Pittman, Zay Jones, and Dobbs?
Well, Dobbs is dealing
Dobbs
with
is
an
questionable.
injury. I
But he played last week and had a good game. So
He did, but he's still dealing with an injury, and
Yeah.
Watson might return. So you've got to be weary of that. I think if Watson returns, it's clearly the first two. If Watson doesn't return, oof, man, that's gonna be close. I think it's Pittman, and then it's.
I like Pittman Dobbs personally. We just talked about how Zay Jones could give way to Kirk.
I
this
get
week,
it,
but
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure I'm a Dobbs boy.
I like Dobbs.
Where the hell I
personally,
have
but
him on here? I mean, yeah, Jones and Dobbs is super close right now.
I think it
and
just depends
this
on
is
who's
without
playing.
Watson. Jones is just slightly higher, by the way. So with Watson or without Watson, I think you slide Dobbs in front of Jones. With Watson, sorry, did I say that right?
Yeah, you did.
If
Continue.
Watson's
With
healthy
Watson,
and
you
playing, yes, it's Jones.
then you slide Dobbs behind Zay Jones if he's healthy.
Yes.
Have another
Sorry.
beer.
It's been a long damn day, dude.
Yeah.
My brain's not working apparently. Anyway,
It's all right. Keep it working because we got, I think, one or two more.
cool.
Mr.
I'm good.
Scampers, longtime listener. Njoku or Musgrave?
I'm going to Joku.
I'm going to Njoku on that. Yeah.
And rookie tight ends. I don't trust him. Sorry. Don't.
And I go Njoku too. I don't. I tend not to trust the rookie tight ends, even though Musgrave did
Not
look
yet.
all right.
I mean, look, I will say this: the rookie tight ends this past week, Laporta, even Musgrave, got a lot more work and were more involved than I thought that we would see some of these guys. Still not there yet.
And then this one's not really a start sit, but Mr. Scamper's having some fun. Will Tannehill get me minus 9.28 fantasy points again this week?
Oh no. Yikes. Dude, he looked like
If he doesn't throw the ball to Chig,
I'm gonna say he had old man arm, dude. Like I'm a big Hopkins truther this year. I thought like going there, it couldn't get any worse. And at the value you were getting Hopkins, it was gonna be perfectly fine. You could tell Hopkins was like, why in the hell are you throwing me the ball in triple coverage? You know, many choice words. And yeah, not good. So hopefully the coaching staff tells Tannehill, stop it. Like I tell my kids all the time. Because that was bad. That was not good.
And I won't take a victory lap.
Allgeier or Sutton. Ooh. Safest? Yo, that's is it it's full PPR?
Yeah, full PPR.
Oh, that's gonna be close.
Depends on Judy, I feel like.
Yeah.
If Judy's out, I mean,
I know. I don't even know if that matters, man. Like that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know if it does. I don't think it does.
I kind of think the safer play, regardless, is Allgeier.
Yeah,
I know PPR. You know, you give a little boost to Sutton, but I mean, like, what do you got? Like, I don't memorize stats like that. You know, for every team. Sorry, but what do you get? Like 5 catches, like 5 targets for 4 receptions. It's brutal, man.
Yeah,
I'm debating. Thank you, Jamie. Love you, man. It's Cortland Sutton. I mean, 5 targets, 4 receptions, and that was supposed to be like that was supposed to be a nice game for them. Didn't happen. So yeah, I'll go Allgeier. If they're gonna use that running back room that much. I think you just roll with it, right, AJ?
I think so. I mean, yeah. Allgeier was. I mean, they drafted him last year. They didn't just forget who the hell he was all of a sudden because Bijan was there.
Well,
I mean, they did in theory.
I don't know what you thought it was going to be, but I mean, but no, like, I mean, he had 15 rushing attempts to 10 for Bijan. So yeah, not good. Like you wanted more.
It's just the running so far this year has just been really weird. Obviously, Philly brought in 2 guys. One of them was a healthy scratch. The other one barely played, and they leaned on
the other one. And Penny, who was a healthy scratch, has not touched the ball yet today.
He has not, and that sucks because I started him.
Because I started him too. I was all over it. I was like, he's got to play. No.
Yeah, because Gainwell's out. I was like, oh, all right. And
you know what's even worse is I got an update like maybe 10 minutes ago that Boston Scott's getting evaluated for a concussion. So why is Rashad Penny not in the game?
Well, the good news on that is that the Eagles don't play the Giants till like week 13. So,
all right,
let's
move on to the rest of this. Or do we have any more questions, Mike? You were the one keeping track of them. So,
just the news stuff is what we got.
I said questions. So,
that's as far as I can tell. Unless you guys, pop up any more questions, we're gonna move on.
No. Well, yeah, we'll get to them when we can. So yeah, just to close out, what I wanted to do here is go through some of the we used to do like a big injury segment where we went through all the injuries and like blah, blah, blah. It took forever.
Yeah.
It's pretty bleh. What I want to do is go through the injuries that like are making a big impact. And so J.K. Dobbins is the first one I wrote down, and could have put this in any order honestly, but J.K. Dobbins was the first one, and so he's out for the year, Achilles injury. So, AJ, we're looking at, I don't know, Justice Hill.
Gus Edwards.
They brought Melvin Gordon back off the practice squad. Like Justice Hill was the big free agent, pickup this week? Because I think Gus was rostered in a lot of leagues,
Yeah.
but Gus was also, I think, also somebody who should have been picked up in a lot of leagues. But out of those two, I mean, tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I don't think Melvin Gordon matters at this point. But between Hill and Gus Edwards, who's the one that you want to roster? And what's your kind of, I don't know, confidence level in them?
Honestly, of those two, I would lean Edwards because he has been the beneficiary of every other Dobbins injury. I feel like he's gotten more of the looks. It's a comfort thing with Lamar knowing that he's there. Not to take anything away from Justice Hill, I think he's a talented player. He just hasn't ever been given enough of the opportunity to show it. I think the big knock here is that Keaton Mitchell.
Alert! We have a Rashad Penny sighting.
Oh man!
Oh man,
dude!
That's because
I'm still at
Swift went over
909.
100 yards and then they benched him, so he can't get too good.
Yeah,
but
I'm at 909 in the third quarter on this TV that I'm watching it on. I don't know how far the game is beyond that, but
what? Oh, you're way
it's way back,
way behind
for whatever reason.
And we know
anyway.
AJ. I think your point stands.
Yeah.
I do want to show this stat, by the way. Hill averaged what, 1 yard per carry? Angelo, you are completely right.
Yeah.
Hill, I love the people throwing like 75% of their fab budget at Hill, Justice Hill this week, because they were clearly the ones who lost Dobbins. And I was like, I mean, I'll throw like 5%. Like it didn't make sense. Yes, he got the goal line carries, and it seemed, I think we're becoming and I'm affected by this too, because I watch a lot of red zone. We're becoming a red zone, audience, right? And we react to that. And so this is why football's played on Sundays, and then we don't do waivers till Tuesdays. We can all go back and look at the stats and reevaluate the games. And you guys need to like read sites like, ours or Fantasy Life or whoever. It doesn't matter. I don't honestly care. Like, I would love for you to read ours, but whoever you get your information from, read them, because it will tell you the whole story. Justice Hill was actually not good. He just got goal line carries randomly. He scored twice. Okay. So is he going to do that again? I don't know. I agree with you, AJ. I think it's Gus Edwards. Moving over here to Aaron Rodgers. Obviously done. Sucks. And we kind of alluded to this earlier. Garrett Wilson is obviously going to take a hit. This entire Jets offense takes a massive hit. Look, they brought in Dalvin Cook. We got Breece Hall. Look, Breece Hall was good last year. Garrett Wilson was good last year. With backup quarterbacks, certain other people were good last year. Is there any hope in your mind that Wilson and Cook and Hall can live up to their fantasy football draft, stock that they had coming into the season? Because those are the three. Those are really the only three that the majority of people care about. Maybe Elijah Mitchell or Elijah Moore. Sorry.
Is there hope in my mind? Yeah, absolutely. But the pessimist in me thinks that these guys are toast. They're not gonna meet draft, payment. Where you drafted these guys, they're not cashing that in right now. Dalvin Cook maybe, because most drafts, early drafts, he wasn't even on the team yet. Breece Hall still was drafted fairly high. Wilson was definitely drafted higher. And Rodgers was drafted is
Yeah,
at least
he was,
in
like,
super
top
flex, he was
16
higher. But
quarterback-ish. I mean,
as much as I give him crap for the outlandish stuff he does, this sucks. Like
yeah,
I didn't
really
want to
does.
see this for him. I wanted to see him succeed here this year, and just have a new start and see what would happen with it. But he brought in so many of his guys, including his coordinator, and he's gone 4 plays in the season. I mean, for them to even come back and win that game is crazy to begin with, but that's what's going to really drive the fantasy output of these 3 players we're talking about is that defense. If that defense plays as well as they did against a very good Buffalo team, I think that New York might surprise some people. They're not just throwing the towel in, at least not yet. So that defense could potentially still lead them to like a 500, or I guess it can't really be.
Yeah, well, I mean, it helps when Allen just chucks 3 interceptions, but
but I think it's will expectations be met?
No, it's
short
brutal. It does suck. Random question that I got on Discord today. Rest of the season, Garrett Wilson or Jalen Waddle? PPR.
Waddle.
Yeah, I went that way too.
Because
that's not the way it was being drafted
for now.
I mean, that's not the way it was being drafted.
Nope.
But
it was being drafted with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's why I went. And honestly, to me, it's not.
Well, that's where
not even super close.
Well, now we're to the point. Like I hate to say it, but we're to the point where draft capital does not matter.
No, and because there's already too many injuries, and we're gonna get to another one here. Like we're looking at Austin Eckler already, and I only put this in here, and I know he's not out, but like seems like a pretty good chance he's not gonna play this week. But Austin Eckler is possibly out. But the other kind of interesting news, and the reason why I brought this up is because I talked about it in my usage article that I wrote this past Tuesday on Fantasy Six Pack. Look, Austin Eckler only played 41% of the snaps. Joshua Kelly played 34% of the snaps. They both had the same amount of rushing attempts. Joshua Kelly got a lot of work in that game. Yeah. Eckler didn't get kind of dinged up until the very, very end of that game. So that made no difference in the amount of workload that they had. That really surprised me. I said 41 to 34 snaps. It was supposed to be 54% to 45%. But either way, the percentage for Eckler is way down compared to what he's normally doing. And so do we now need to, think about Kelly as somebody that we need to roster? Other guys I kind of alluded to in that article were like Jerome Ford with Chubb. Like that workload split was crazy split too. But like this one in particular,
I got
everybody's going
after
Kelly this year because of Eckler, or this week because of Eckler. Oh,
well,
AJ Brown just scored.
No, Rashad Penny flag. That's his sighting. He got a holding call that called it back.
Oh, you jerk. But obviously this week with Eckler being banged up, people are going heavy into Kelly. But even without Eckler, being injured, would you have gone after Kelly?
Yeah. I think I actually did in a couple of leagues just because of that usage. I was shocked to see it as well. I mean, I know he's been in the system, so I'm not as shocked to see him, being able to succeed. It's just the amount of work that he actually got in week 1. And again, it's just week one was so weird with these backfields, with how much usage guys you didn't think were going to get used got, albeit some due to injury, but others, like this is a perfect example. Ford was the other one I was thinking of too. I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, I know you mentioned it in the article, but that one blew my mind, because when I took Chubb in a couple of leagues, I was stoked knowing he's the guy.
He still was a monster, though. Like,
yeah,
Chubb
exactly.
was still so much better than Ford, but Ford got that Kareem Hunt treatment, which is what makes me be like, oh, okay, we need to think about this.
Yep.
So, yeah. And I talked about it on Discord too before I even published the article. So, like, that's that's out there. So, I want to go through 3 quick reactions to week 1, AJ. The Bengals were bad. Like, holy cow. And I know weather was atrocious for that game. So, one concern for the Bengals for the last couple of years has been their offensive line, and they don't play well in Cleveland. So here we go. They just got crushed. I mean, look, I lost a matchup because Joe Burrow got me 4.5 points. I lost that matchup by 3 points. Joe Burrow even just plays like normally bad, I feel like, and I win. He plays horribly bad, and I've lost. So there we go. Not fun.
I mean, did you see that bad beat that Matthew Berry posted that he got sent? The Aaron.
No.
So guy was down by 0.2 points going into Monday night and had Aaron Rodgers left to play.
Oh no! I know somebody who lost. Who was it? It was on our Discord. Who posted? I forget who it was. They said they lost because of the punt return.
Did it because of the points scored against his defense knocked him below?
I don't remember exactly what it was.
But that is a bad beat. That's a bad beat.
The punt return. So yeah, that blows. But anyway, Bengals, man, like, what's the worry level on the Bengals?
It's kind of high. I mean,
really?
If Burrow, well, he came in to the season injured. He got back, but he was rushed back, I think. And, kudos to him for getting back on the field for week 1, but maybe not looking at what we saw. This affects T. Higgins, obviously Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. I mean, this is a throw first offense. Joe Mixon also bad. So
he did way better than everybody else did.
he did, but that's not really saying
no, it was
much.
bad. Yeah, but Angela's saying good call here. Checking the weather matters. Hurricane Lee will be affecting the Northeast. Hope the Pats aren't home this week.
They are.
I don't know the exact schedule. Oops, clicked on the wrong dang link. Pats are at home, but it is also Sunday. Well, it's Sunday night, so I don't know that. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't know, man. Honestly, like with the Bengals, for me, like I think they're too good. I just think they're too good. I think that was just a weird game. It was a freaking monsoon. It's not like Cleveland looked awesome either. They just have a better running game, so it really helped them. Like that type of game favors Cleveland. So I'll give them a little bit of pass on that one. Look, they're up against Baltimore. Great defense again. They got to show something. Then the worry meter goes up to like 5 or 6 for me. Right now it's at like a 2. I'm going to give them a pass. One bad game. I ain't worried about it. Giants, though, man. Giants, as we said earlier. Suck it, Keith.
Big hashtag, small hashtag, suck it, Keith.
Embarrassed by the Cowboys, which, like, I don't like to say anybody gets embarrassed by the Cowboys, but they actually absolutely did. But when it's the Giants, I guess I could still have fun saying it. Where's our ticker, Mike? Man, we got the hashtag. Yeah, there we go.
There it
Suck
is.
it, Keith, the hashtag.
There it is.
All right, so give your 1 minute spiel, AJ, on how much this gives you hope in the Cowboys being good versus the Giants being horrible.
Well, I never have hope.
But
that
no,
the
you know
Cowboys
what I mean.
are
For
good,
fantasy,
but
fantasy. Let's put
for
them aside.
fantasy though,
I
yeah.
get it, man. I get
So
it.
the big thing here
painful to say
was
this.
a reverse hashtag suck it Keith turned into a hashtag suck it AJ because he had Dallas's defense in the fantasy 6-pack league matchup and rode that to the victory over me.
Oh my gosh.
Not very happy about it.
40-point defensive performance.
Yeah, that's absurd.
You're welcome.
I mean, Dallas's defense is legit. We've talked about it before. I've specifically talked about it before, as much as it pains me to talk about. They are a scary good defense. The Giants, I did not see them coming into this game and putting up a goose egg and then getting blown out the way that they did. I thought the Cowboys would win the game, but I thought that it would be a much closer game than it really was. I mean, it was just.
Well, nobody took 40 points, but
yeah,
it was
bad. And the big takeaway here, for me as an Eagles fan is, okay, the Giants were frauds. We beat them 3 times last year, and hopefully we're going to beat them again twice. But the bigger problem is, in order for the Eagles to manage winning this division, Washington looked decent at times against a very bad team, but
okay.
And when I say at times, I mean like 4 or 5 plays.
I think it's Arizona.
Exactly.
They're supposed to be horrible, so no. Don't worry about Washington.
The Cowboys are the Cowboys and the 49ers clearly made a statement in week 1 against teams who, in my mind, are better than what they showed. From a fantasy standpoint, though, I mean, we already were questioning the Danny Dimes kind of breakout, I guess. I was on board with it happening. The receivers are a mess. I mean, we've already talked about that. Saquon did not look good. No, the fact that they were down so much, though, it's hard for him to really try to get going in something like that. But damn, Cowboys looked really good.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though, too. Like, if you really look at the box score, like, it really wasn't that impressive by the Cowboys offense. I mean, like, they had a blocked field goal return. They had a field goal. They had an interception return. And then they had Tony Pollard. So, like, it wasn't awesome by the offense. So I'm wondering what happens when all of a sudden, they've got to rely on this offense a little more to score points, because like it didn't look good. It was just, I mean, at some point it was kind of like, well, the Giants just kind of rolled over and was like, okay, we're done, because it was already game over at halftime. So I'm not totally being like, oh man, the Giants are great, because the stats by the Cowboys offense, Dak and CeeDee Lamb, like, it wasn't great. But yeah, the Giants just, that was bad by the Giants. Last one is the Rams. Man, they actually look pretty damn good. I was shocked, man. Absolutely shocked.
Yeah.
That they did what they did to the Seahawks. The Seahawks defense last year was decent, but they made it happen without Cooper Kupp. And another weird, and I didn't mention it on purpose, another weird running back room was the Rams. Kyron Williams actually outrushed Cam Akers, or out snapped. Sorry, but Cam Akers outrushed him. But Kyron Williams got 15 carries, 52 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cam Akers 22 for 29 and 1. So if you're looking at the box score, you're seeing 22 carries. They blew him out. It was Kyron Williams at the end. It actually wasn't. It was more Kyron Williams. The whole beginning of this game, he scored the 2 touchdowns. Cam Akers got the garbage time. It was like, okay. Matthew Stafford didn't turn the ball over. Finally, right? That's what his bugaboo was last year. 334 yards. Yes, did not throw for a touchdown, but didn't need to. Puka Nacua, 10 receptions on 15 targets. I mean, this was totally nuts, man. And then this defense came to life. I don't know what to think about this, because I literally thought Seattle was just going to mop the floor with the Rams this week. Chad, I will get to your question in just a second. I want to let AJ answer this question.
Yeah. I mean, Puka Nacua was the big late round stab in a lot of the industry leagues
stab
that
a lot of leagues, honestly,
that I was in. And yeah, I mean, everybody that didn't draft him was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Maybe he was
the Rams
good.
hate game makers.
Is it the Rams or is it Sean McVay?
I mean, yeah, same thing.
Yeah. I will say that I'm benching Akers this week just because it's the 49ers.
Interesting enough, and this is funny because I actually did get Puka Nacua in one league, and now he's dealing with an oblique injury, so he may not even play. But now he's playing the Niners. Angelo here is talking, I might keep him on the bench this week. I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't draft him to be a top 3 receiver on any of my teams. So playing the 49ers, just steamrolled the Steelers. I might wait and make this his prove it week. I don't disagree.
This could be a perfect example of the boom play that everybody's throwing fab at or trying to grab all the waiver wire.
I have no issues if you got him.
And then they start him this week, and if he doesn't show up, immediate drop. But if you spend a ton of money on him, you might not have to.
You don't have to. I get it. I mean, what we were talking about in our in the league that Mike, it's our league, right? The fantasy 6-pack and
The
fans league that we did. What was it? Dave Eddy threw 38% of his fab money on Puka.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oof. I mean, look, not only is Puka not a proven talent, this could have been a fluke, but 2, Cooper Kupp could come back in 3 more weeks. Then what happens? He ain't getting 15 targets. You just blew 38% of your fab budget in 1 week on a guy that could play 3 more weeks. I don't know, man. That's rough. But yeah, man, it's kind of nice to see the Rams kind of, do something nice here. And I think, Tutu Atwell was kind of a shine. Van Jefferson, I think, Mike, you guys asked me about him. You and Dylan asked me about him on Sunday morning, and I was kind of like, man, I don't know, man. We all want to believe in Van Jefferson, but when has it ever actually happened? It's just felt like it's never happened. So I was kind of out on him, and thankfully I was, because he didn't do great. It's just a weird situation. The Cam Akers people are kind of like, whatever. When Kupp comes back, Puka becomes his Robert Woods. I mean, that could be fine, and that's fine. But there's also Tutu Atwell, who played very well and kind of can already play that role. So it will be very interesting if and when Kupp comes back to see how this offense plays out. And, I know a lot of people paid a lot of money for Kyron Williams too. That's another one too. So,
Sorry.
You're watching the
Vikings
game.
scored. They're cutting the lead down.
Vikings are because I forget you're far behind, so I'm not gonna say a whole lot more. Anyway,
They just scored.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got for the show, guys and gals
Chad's
who are
question.
watching and listening.
Chad's question.
What is the question? Oh,
The one that you said you were going to get back to after I talked. It was, I'm probably not. Yeah,
I put it up
think
on the
it's that-
screen. Ramondre
that one.
Fapuka in Dynasty.
oh, yeah, I'll take Ramondre. I don't want. I know, but that's a huge overreaction. Sorry.
Are you
I'm not
getting
trying-
Ramondre or are you giving him up?
whichever side's got Ramondre, that's the one I want.
I believe he's got Ramondre. I was reading his comments. He said, "I'm
Yeah.
worried I'm overreacting because I got put in a position to not draft him in my home league after calling this all season."
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. You know, there's a lot of like, I sort of was a little in on Puka Nakua. Mark Strasburg on our Discord channel was all over it. He kept screaming from the mountaintops as much as possible to go draft this guy. But now for Ramondre, that's a bit much. I mean, I just feel like that's a bit much. So I can't do it. I don't know about you, AJ.
I agree.
No, I
Ramondre
wouldn't do
played
it.
the Eagles' defensive line, and that
Very good.
interior.
He's very good.
Yeah, I would stay with Ramondre. Personally.
I know we saw Zeke get a lot of work too, but look, Zeke's not gonna. He might get a bunch of work, but he's not good anymore, and he's probably not gonna be there next year. Yes, they'll probably bring in somebody else, but Stevenson's top notch, so no way. Anyway, that is it for the show. Hope you all enjoyed it. Again, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. And yeah, we will see you all next week when we talk through some week 3 rankings with some start sit questions as well. And guess to be determined. We'll pull one in eventually, but haven't determined that yet. But have a good night, everybody. We will see you all next time.